All right, so we're joined by one of my all-time favorite former students, prevention specialist there at the Metro Jackson Prevention Coalition, part of Jackson State Community Engagement. Kamryn Dismuke, thank you so much. You were in one of my first classes there at Jim Hill High School when I began my teaching career. We have a room full with us here at Velma Jackson, and we're recording this for our friends at Madison Central, Germantown, and Ridgeland, and our YouTube channel. So glad we finally got to fit you in the schedule.
Yes, thank you. Thank you guys for having me.
All right, so before we get into what all it is you do, take us back to the beginning. Jim Hill High School, you were involved a lot there, and then you went to Hines and then Jackson State. So take us through that process of your decisions you made, all the stuff you were involved in high school, and then all the decisions you made when it came to going to Hines and Utica and then to Jackson State.
Okay, I actually have a presentation prepared. I just need to share.
I'll do it. I can't wait. I love it. I see it. Looking forward to seeing it.
Okay. So hello everyone. My name is Kamryn Dismuke. So I just did a journey to remember. So all about me, in May 2017, I graduated from Jim Hill High School. In May 2019, I graduated from Hines Community College, Utica campus. And in May 2021, I graduated from the Jackson State University. And right now I'm currently enrolled in rehab counseling for my master's program. So I know you had asked for like at Jim Hill. So at Jim Hill, I did a lot of stuff. I was a part of the Tigerettes choir, honor society, and homecoming court every year. So
you were Miss, and your senior year, you were Miss Senior.
Yes, I forgot about that. Yes, Miss Senior. So while at Jim Hill, I took dual enrollment classes. So basically what dual enrollments are when you just take college courses while you're still enrolled in high school. So at Hines, I was on a full STEM scholarship. I was a biology major, and I was in an honor society called Phi Theta Kappa, and I was actually Miss Utica for the 2018-2019 school year. So of course, after I left Hines and Utica, I went to Jackson State, and at Jackson State, I was a criminal justice and correctional service major. I had a 4.0 GPA. So when I was in the honor society at Utica, they will pay for my 2 years in Hines. So being a Phi Theta Kappa, so if you have a 3.5 GPA above and you're a Phi Theta Kappa, they'll pay for you full ride. You'll just have to find a list of schools that offer you a full ride. So
yeah, and even if and I'm sorry to cut you off, but even on Phi Theta Kappa, even at the private universities, they still cover what it would be at a public university. So Phi Theta Kappa is good at at most universities. So we're a big fans. We are big fans of the Phi Theta Kappa scholarship here at Velma Jackson.
Yes. So at Jackson State, I was in multiple honor societies as well. So after I graduated from Jackson State, I had an internship in Denver, Colorado. So I thought I was only in Colorado for like 1 or 2 days, and I came back to Mississippi because things happened and I just had to, come back. So during that time, I had post-grad depression. So basically what post-grad depression is, you'll be like, dang, I went to school for all these years and nothing is working out. So basically that's how I felt. I was just like, what can I do? So during the time, I was just, have to trust the process. That's what everybody kept saying, like my mom, my professors, they was just like, trust the process. So every time someone asked me what I wanted to do, I'd be like, well, I want to do something with drugs and alcohol. So that would lead me to where I'm at right now. So a quote that kept me going throughout the entire process until I got where I wanted to be is nothing is impossible. The word itself says impossible. So where I'm at now, I'm a prevention specialist for Metro Jackson Community Prevention Coalition. And the main purpose for my job is to reduce factors that lead to alcohol, tobacco, and other drugs, and increase the resilience factors of adolescents, children, and families at high-risk areas in Mississippi. So with it, I actually got certified associate prevention specialist. That's my license. And these are my students at Jim Hill High School. So it's a full circle. I'm back at the school that I actually went through this program with my supervisor. His name is Mr. Henry Thompson. So he used to come into Jim Hill when I was there in my junior year. And he actually hit me up one day and was like, hey, do you need a job? And I was like, of course I need a job. So you never know who's watching you. So your professors right now can actually give you a job in the long run or a recommendation letter. You never know. So yes, this is my class. And my contact information is 601-979-1196, and I work at Jackson State University.
I love it. Now, and that was some good stuff. But before I get to the students' questions, I had some things I wanted to talk about. So you were a great student at Jim Hill. I mean, I knew firsthand. But you still decided to do the community college route, even though you were more than capable of going to a university after high school. So I've got a lot of seniors in here with me right now. So a lot of them are still kind of undecided. So what was the main determining factor for you to go to a community college rather than a four-year university after high school?
Basically, just to put it flat out, it was free. I didn't have to worry about anything. You don't want any unnecessary loans. So, and your first year in college, in a way, you taking prerequisite classes. So prerequisite classes are just like classes that you take before you actually get into your major. So some of the classes I had already took when I was still at Jim Hill. So it just put me earlier on. So once I got to Jackson State, I was already classified as a senior.
Yeah, and you also had a class with my friend Stephanie Burks, who, in the community college setting, even if you do plan to go to a large Ole Miss or Mississippi State, in the community college setting, you're going to have the smaller classes. And even though Jim Hill's a large school, you told me that you really liked being able to get to know your teachers at Hines on a personal level. And that was, that gave you the opportunity to use them as references and use them for recommendation letters. And I know I've written you some myself as well. Now, what was your motivation to transfer to Jackson State? Because there's other great universities that have your program.
Yes, another thing, it was free. I didn't have to worry about anything. It was free and everything was covered. So room and board was covered, books. I still was getting a refund back. And I also had a scholarship from Alabama State. Everything was covered except for room and board. So room and board, if you're coming in from out of state, it's gonna be a lot of added fees on top of your room and board. So I just weighed my options with that, and I just said might as well just finish it off at home for free.
Yeah, and I was glad you didn't go far away either. So one thing you did talk about, and it always seems to be kind of a taboo topic in high schools, especially in the Black community, is you talked about your mental health state after college. I think it's important, and I know you deal with the drug and alcohol side, but you also deal with people with mental health issues on an everyday basis. So why do you think it's so important for young people to be able to express concerns they have? Because you just shared yourself, it's not uncommon and across the board. So what have you seen people benefit from when they actually share about their mental health concerns they have when they're getting from high school or out of college?
Basically, you never know who you are around. So who can help you. So when I say that, I was talking to someone that they helped me on the next level. So like if you're not holding it in and actually getting it out, somebody else can actually come in and help you and put you in a direction to be like, hey, oh, I have a friend that does this, that does this. Or I have a friend that can put you in contact with such and such. So it's basically about networking. So you won't spiral and just have all those emotions built in. You just let it out so your blessings can come.
Absolutely. Now, and you're in a field that desperately needs more people to get into it because the stigma around alcohol and drug abuse is starting to end. People are more and more people are seeking help because it is a real problem across all races, all genders, all socioeconomic status, not just in Mississippi but nationwide. And you guys have done a great job engaging the city of Jackson and Jackson
Mm-hmm.
Public Schools, getting people involved not only in treatment but also in prevention, which is I know something you specialize in.
Mm-hmm.
So why should people consider getting into this field? Because like we said, there's going to be a need for it, but there's always going to be more and more stuff that's being learned. So why should young people consider getting into this field with you?
Really, in this field, you learn a lot. I talked to DEA agents, I talked to MBN agents, and you never know what's going on because, like, being in high school, I didn't know it was like a epidemic, with certain drugs. So actually being in this field to help somebody or prevent it from even getting to a worse state, it's rewarding in itself because you'll be like, hey, you probably won't reach everybody, but if you touch that one person, you did prevention.
Absolutely. With so many options out there, it's important for these kids to know that if they really want a career that is rewarding and makes a difference, there's always a need for prevention specialists, drug and alcohol counselors, social workers that are working in this area to really help the community. Now, before I get to the students' questions, I did want to talk about your time at Jackson State, because you were very popular in high school. You were obviously very popular at Hines. But you were always in the middle of the social scene, but you still stayed on top of your academics.
Mm-hmm.
And I know when people get to college, not a lot of times, but sometimes they get so into the social scene that they forget their studies. So, how did you manage time? Because you were involved in a lot of stuff. Even in high
Mm-hmm.
school, you were involved in a lot of stuff, but you still stayed a consistent A student. So, how did you do that with everything you had going on?
Um, Basically, I remember what I was in school for. All the things, all those is fun, being on the plaza, going with your friends, all that's fun, but you are actually paying for these classes now. So it's not like nothing is free anymore once you're in college. So you paying for it and you want the best out of your 4 years while you are at a college or a university or anything. So I just realized what I was in school for and I prioritized my time. So I want a social life, but if I be like, hey, okay, if I want to go to this party or if I want to go to this event, I need to make sure all my work is done in advance.
Yeah, and also you did a great job getting involved in student organizations because
Mm-hmm.
everybody knows about the NPHC Life and the Greeks, and those are all great. They do a lot for the community, and they're great on a resume. But there's other great student organizations if you're not interested in that. So, what student organizations were you involved in at both Hines and Jackson State, other than Phi Theta Kappa?
Um, At Hines, I was a student ambassador. So basically just telling them about the history of Hines and why you should be in Hines. At Jackson State, I was a part of a group called Girls Coalition. So we did community service hours. We did a lot of stuff in the community. It's a organization that's full of females, just female empowerment. And I can't think of the other societies because it was a lot. But those are the main two that I can think of right now. So basically just community service, giving back to the community that gave you so much when you was younger.
Yeah, and I think that's important because the academics obviously is extremely important. You need the knowledge, you need the theory, but in any field you go into, you're gonna need that hands-on experience. You're gonna need the
Mm-hmm.
networking because, like you just said, you never know who you're talking to. And the old saying is, "It's not what you know, it's who you know." I'll take it one
Mm-hmm.
step farther. It's not who you know, it's who knows you.
Yes.
So getting your name out there and learning to sell yourself, which is something we talk about in this class and we talk about in our college career readiness classes, to really learn to put yourself out there. You don't, obviously me and you can speak in front of a larger group with no problem, but not being scared to, to go introduce yourself, go in a room and shake the hand, get business cards made, have a good resume. So all that's very important in advancing in any field.
Yes, it really is.
All right, so I got some questions for some students here, and I'll get to as many of these as I can. This first one is DeKayla Williamson. She's a sophomore, one of our cheerleaders here, and she said, "How did it feel when you first started your journey in college?"
I was very nervous. I was like, okay, so I'm away from home. And I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna know a lot of people around, but I did actually know a lot of people. But your college experience, you make your college experience. So basically, what I mean by that, you go about things that will make you happy, or you surround yourself around people that's like-minded like you.
Yeah, and that's important to find your group, and I
Mhm.
think college is a great time for that. This is David Ford. He's a junior member of our championship bowling team here, and he asked, "What was your mindset after you graduated from high school?"
My mindset, my mindset was I was ready just to go to the next level to see, you know, what's the quote? The choice that you make today shape your world tomorrow. So I wanted to see what else can I accomplish next. So I knew I made all the right choices in high school. So I was like, okay, so if I want to be um an FBI agent, or if I wanted to be something with drugs and alcohol, okay, I need to go ahead and get these classes. I need to go ahead and get a network with people to get me to that next level. So I was in the mindset of being hungry because I knew what I wanted for myself.
Absolutely. Here's a good one. This is Harmony Williams. She's a senior captain of our dance team here, wants to get into the cosmetology industry. And she asked, "Did you always know what you wanted to major in?"
Um, no, I did not, because when I first started at Hines and Utica, I was biology major. So when I was taking
Oh,
science class,
yeah.
yes, when I saw those science classes, I was like, yeah, this is not gonna be for me. And then I always knew that I had a love for criminal justice because of my dad and my sister. So I was just like, you know what, let me go ahead and go to, the legal side of things.
Yeah, and that's another good point about, if somebody is kind of on the fence about something they want to major in, a community college could be a great first step because you get to get used to those classes you would have at a university, and you can
Mm-hmm.
see whether or not that really is for you. And
Yeah.
that's not uncommon for people to say, "Look, this isn't for me," and then change directions and do it while they're at a community college. Not only does it save a lot of money, it really saves a lot of time as well.
Yeah. And so that's why
Uh,
sometimes they have general studies as well as they major. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because it's all the same things you're going to have anyway, and they're all going to transfer.
Mm-hmm.
This is Alexander Williams. He's a senior, and he asked, What do you want to accomplish in the future in this field?"
Um, in this field, I would like to open up my own practice. So having a substance abuse practice maybe one day. And also, I really want to be a DEA agent. So doing something with narcotics or alcohol beverage control, somewhere up in there, a drug alcohol counselor. So I'm still navigating and finding my way.
Yeah, and I know you mentioned your dad. Your late father was such a great man, but you didn't mention he was a member of Jackson Police Department, so you do have the law enforcement in your background.
Mm-hmm.
But there's so many things to do in law enforcement, and even your background now could lead into that. This is Gabriel G., member of our baseball and football team here, and he asked, "What was your main focus in academics before you got to where you are?"
My main focus was okay, so my time at Jackson State really was cut short because of COVID. So basically, with that being said, so like the social side, I didn't have any more social side. So I was just mainly focusing on passing, getting straight A's. So for me, I always set a goal for myself for the semester. So I'd be like, hey, this semester I want to make nothing but straight A's. So that's what I did. So basically, my focus was being an A student, getting a 4.0, because when you graduate from college, they're gonna have summa cum laude, magna cum. So I said I want to be summa cum laude. So
Love it. I just got one more. This is Christian Wolf. He's a senior, and he asked, "How many phone calls do you usually take a day?"
phone calls, it really doesn't be that many because we be already out in the community. So
Okay,
right now, I'm actually at Walton Elementary School. So with them, we do a life skill curriculum. So it teaches them how to communicate, how to make healthy decisions, assertiveness. We teach them about smoking information. And then when I go to middle school and high school, the curriculum changes. So we
that's
really don't
awesome.
get a lot of phone calls, but if we do, it's just about, hey, can you come out and set up a booth here? Or can you come to our school and talk? It's basically what the phone calls will be about.
That's awesome. Well, we're almost out of time, and I thank you so much for taking some time for us. But I just have two more questions left for you.
Mhm.
One funny and one serious.
Okay.
So the first one is, it was just over 10 years ago that you were in one of my first ever classes as a teacher. I'll be the first person to admit I didn't know what in the world I was doing. I was figuring it out. But we've had a great relationship since then. And I've always told these kids, making the right choice when you first meet me can lead to an amazing relationship down the road when it
Mhm.
comes to letters of recommendation. But how much, you were sitting just where these kids are now, not that long ago. How much of what I told you about what was going to happen in life actually happened?
Everything. Everything. And you always told us, she was like, nothing can really prepare you for life. But the words that you say, actually listen to your teachers, because you probably be like, oh my gosh, he just tripping, or he just tripping. He don't know what he's talking about. Yes, they do know what they're talking about, because life do be lifing. And you have to just go with it and just roll with it. So actually take heed to it, because it's very important.
Absolutely. Now, before we go, you grew up just like a lot of people that are going to see this later and are with us now. You grew up in the Jackson area, Jackson Public Schools. As a Black woman in America in a field that desperately needs more people to get into it. So even if these kids don't want to be counselors, they don't want to be even in the human services field.
Mhm.
Um, what can they do to be successful with the same type of obstacles that you face as a Black woman in Mississippi?
Basically, you find what you want to do, because of course, like you said, everybody don't want to do the same thing. So right now, if you are a sophomore or junior, you should be actually in a plan, like writing a journal or something. That's what I do. I used to have a journal that I wrote in to be like, hey, I want this, or I want this by the age of 21. Or you just have to find your, kick, your funk, so you can be like, okay, hey, this is what I want for myself. So these are the things that I have to do to get this for myself.
I love it. Well, I've told you a million times how proud I am of you. You're one of the biggest highlights of my career, and I love every day seeing all the things you're doing. And it's meant a lot to me that we've been so close over the years. So I love you to the moon and back, and I'm so proud of you. And I thank you so much for taking some time for us today.
Thank you guys. And thank you.
All right.
All
No,
right.
thank you as always. Talk to you soon, buddy.
Okay.
See ya.